Hallo zusammen und herzlich willkommen zu einem besonderen Global Digital Women Meets Event. Diesmal Global Digital Women Meets one of my favorite brands. So I'm switching to English because we have one of my favorite female founders here in the chat, Jaclyn Schnau. I will introduce herself quickly. But my name is Tijen. I'm the founder of Global Digital Women, and we have a special event here, GDW meets Pumpkin Organics. As you maybe know, I'm invested in pumpkin organics, and our topic of the day is founding and working moms real talk. I especially like the part of the real talk, and I know you guys are streaming from every city from the world, so maybe you can type into the chat where you are located now. I'm in Hamburg, in wonderful Hamburg, and I'm really looking forward to our talk. So as I said, we are going to talk about founding moms, about female investors, about a work-life balance when it comes to like having kids and having a big business. And I'm very happy that we have a great round of role models here. As I mentioned, Jaclyn is here. She is the founder, one of the founders of Pumpkin Organics. And I know Jaclyn now for, I don't know, over 1 year, right, Jaclyn?
Yeah,
or maybe
already.
2 years?
Couple of years, yeah, already.
So you are sitting in Munich, actually, in your office. Maybe you can show behind your back the
our
products.
Little chief tester. And there is our wall full of vegetables and yumminess and products, yes.
Jaclyn, you are the founder of Pumpkin Organics, and we are going to talk about your brand and your founding journey. But I have another great role model, and I'm a big fan of her. She's Wolke Hegenbarth, and she's a famous actress in Germany. And she's also now a business angel for Pumpkin Organics and an investor. And I'm very proud that she's here. Wolke, you are sitting in Berlin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Berlin.
Are you fine?
Great. If I see you too, and I mean, we can't see everybody out there, but very happy to be here. Thank you.
And the people are like, hi, everyone from Stuttgart, hi from Karlsruhe, my hometown, from Berlin. I'm really looking forward to this talk. For hello from Frankfurt, good vibes, Hamburg, Munich, Freiburg, Karlsruhe, good morning from Hamburg. So I'm so looking forward to our talk. As I said, Jaclyn, we are going to talk about also your business with Pumpkin Organics. Maybe you can share the story of Pumpkin Organics, because I think it's really, really interesting for other women out there.
Fantastic. It's such a pleasure to be here and to have these two sit beside the two of you. And Pumpkin is really a personal story. So the reason, not in German right now, although I'm married to a German and our company is fully German and I have a Bavarian baby, is I'm from Canada. And this is a really important part of my story. Growing up in the farmland in the middle of the country, I had a value and everything in my foundation around food and family. And you know, when you're a child, you think everybody has this, right? You think this is such a normal way. And then when I realized how much is connected to food, to health, I just really said, I have to share this knowledge. As a young child, my mother got very sick, and your mom's your hero, right? You have no idea why parents get sick. Really, I'm really fortunate my mom is still here. But this was one of these major milestones in my life where I started to cook for my mom, and I started to understand the role of sugar. And even though I was only 8, 9, 10, you saw that sugar destroyed plants. And then you saw that when you put goodness and nutrients and vitamins on other plants, they flourished. And even as a child, the importance of nutrition really, really stuck with me. As I went through the rest of my journey, I entered the big American food world thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky, I'm going to change the world and drive nutrition. It's not how it works. The ecosystem of food is so broken. It is driven by Wall Street. It is driven by lobby groups. It is not driven by people's health. It is not driven by the fact that society is at a critical level of obesity and so many lifestyle nutrition-related diseases. That the good part of this, it's in our control. The bad part of this, it's in our control, and we have done nothing to actually rectify the problems that we have created. And that's what I said I was going to go and do, because after being finally correctly diagnosed with Hashimoto's later in life, and really investing all my time and knowledge in solving my own health issues, I really became 100% committed to this fight of nutrition. And it's one thing to do it for adults, but when I started to study where nutrition really counts, it's in the belly and the baby. And when you look at what's on the shelf, when you look at what companies put out there in the name of healthy food and nutrition, it's absolutely mind-boggling that it is allowed on the shelf. And then through marketing washing and health washing and greenwashing, it's insane the pressure we put on parents and moms and dads to make proper decisions about food. And I said, let's do it different. Let's take all the knowledge, all the passion I've got, bring all the network that I can, and let's do something very special and truly transform infant nutrition. So we started studying the first 1,000 days and brought out a product line to teach kids to fall in love with vegetables.
Wow, it's so amazing. It's so amazing to hear your story again. Now I wanted to ask some question to Wolke, but I think she's gone. But maybe, but I think she will soon jump into it again. I see a lot of comments here coming from YouTube and also LinkedIn, and I have to mention again, you can also put all the questions via YouTube, via Facebook, and also LinkedIn. So we are streaming about YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I saw a lot of comments here saying, hello from Heidelberg. Hello, I'm not a mom, but I am happy to this talk. Lovely greetings from Bayreuth. Wolke is absolutely great, and all of you. Hello from Dillenburg, Hessen, part-time living in Canada. So nice. So Jaclyn, you mentioned the nutrition is starting at in the belly, right?
Yes.
So do you think when it comes to, let's say, our food and health, the awareness of nutrition is more important now than it was the last years?
You know, when you think about what our grandparents ate and even what our parents ate, the quality of the food was significantly higher than the quality of food now. And I'm talking about the stuff out of the garden, a tomato, a carrot. The nutritional components of this over time have just been destroyed due to the soil erosion, due to demands on crop production. So anything from pesticides to, components to grow food faster have basically all come at the cost of the nutritional component of that food. So yeah, it has gone down. That's why it's especially important now that we take extra effort in what we're doing with food, how we grow it and how we actually eat it, how we choose the food even for our children. The other component is we eat out of boxes now. Like the concept of a meal has changed so much.
Absolutely.
Convenience rules everything. And when you look at the shelf, when you look at the grocery store, the percentage of the shelf that is fresh, organic, whole food versus something in a box that has been dehydrated or pressure cooked or has preservatives in it, it's absolutely backwards for what our health needs. And this is what we really want to do, because we believe the science is clear is also that you can train little ones to fall in love with food. Like we train them to walk and talk and sing and dance. We can train them to eat. And if we do this, we'll change. They won't be perfect eaters. No one will be. But they will make better choices. And they will make better choices for their lifelong healthy eating habits. And that's the point. That's why nutrition right now matters more than it did a few generations ago.
And I remember once you said, I think in an interview, now she's back. Wolke is back.
Hey, maybe we should
digital
talk about
country Germany.
Digitalizing Berlin would be kind of great.
We were like, okay, maybe we can move on.
Yeah.
And I was reading a comment actually from Anke. She was like, hello, I'm not a mom, but I'm happy to this talk. Lovely greetings from Bayreuth. Wolke is absolutely great, and all of you. And I was like introducing you, Wolke, and you were like,
gone.
Yeah. This is Wolke, this is the ghost.
It was a very short appearance. We call it a cameo if you just have a Gastauftritt. No?
Yeah. Wolke, as I mentioned, you're a very famous actress here in Germany. I love what you are doing, especially that you are so honestly talking about the things when it comes to a working mom. And once you gave an interview, I think in Gala, and you said it was a really tough time when I gave birth and then the time after. Why did you do this? So what was your motivation behind this interview, this very open interview?
I've noticed that momhood is somehow glorified extremely in the public eye. Wherever you look, everybody's just so happy and everything is great and the baby's here, so everybody's like bursting of joy. And for me, it wasn't like that. Birth was fine. It went completely fine, everything perfect. But after that, I just, due to my child being a so-called high-need baby, which doesn't sleep well or not really any hours, how can I say, attached, just like 45 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, and you never know what you get. So I just felt I haven't really heard much about it, and it felt so weird and alone. And I was like, it's probably not really possible that I'm the only one. So I felt if someone would start sharing, then probably make it easier for everybody. So I've had a lot of women writing to me on Instagram and sharing that they've started crying when they saw my interview, especially in SWR Nachtcafé, because I had some broad audience and time to actually talk it through properly. And people, even 18 years ago, that had their babies 18 years back, said, I started crying again because it took me right back. So they just really feel, they also had no one that time, and they didn't even know how to verbalize or how to express what they're going through. And so I just felt, I'm probably, due to my work, good at expressing things. I should be. So I feel I can be kind of the one standing up for the shitty parts of it as well, because I'm not ashamed. And I don't feel, I don't blame myself for it. I just feel that's life, things just happen. And they also happen to people like me. And I think that's probably a big relief to a lot of moms, because they feel, I don't know, it just only happens to the normal people or something, but it doesn't. So I just felt like the more we share, the better for everybody. And I don't like people where everything is always great and just glamorous and filtered. And I'm just not a fan. So I don't want to be that person myself, where people think, oh yeah, it's her, she never has problems and everything's always just going great. I find it totally unattractive.
And why do you think people are talking not about the challenging part when it comes to motherhood, as you mentioned, the glorifying part? Is it the shame aspect? Or
from what I've heard, they were like blaming themselves, first of all. So it's about insecurity, not knowing if you're doing the right thing. Could you maybe possibly do something better, because people are so quick with advice? Oh yeah, you must do this and this. I mean, Jaclyn and I, we've talked about it. And, I mean, it's not like you wouldn't try, because obviously that's what you do, but some things still don't work. And there's not that one fits all solution. I mean, probably never, but it's particularly not with babies. Because so you just can't take advice. And the best is actually to not give any advice unless explicitly asked for, like, how did you do it? So I just felt, there's a lot of need to be open, and also for women stopping to blame themselves or others, because it also results in the whole mom shaming, or looking down on others, because you kind of also look down on yourself and you don't treat yourself well. So I would like for women to start treating themselves better, and then from there you can actually treat others better. But it starts with yourself. So just overthink, why are you thinking the things you're thinking? Is it really your thoughts, or is it maybe your mom's or even your granny's? Or like to just be more aware of what you're actually thinking and also doing to others. So if I can be a help of being more visible, of being more present and more maybe observant of what's happening, and not just jump on anything or judging. It's so easy to judge people.
It
is, especially in these times. And talking about like the judgment of people, Jaclyn, once you gave an interview, I think it was in the Süddeutsche Zeitung, and then you said, when I moved to Germany, I was so impressed, but let's say I was surprised when it comes to working moms, because I'm from Canada, and for us it's pretty normal when women balance kids and their business and professional life. And here in Germany, you have like special words, for career moms, Rabenmutter.
Yeah.
I think it's a German word, right?
Yeah, completely.
And you were like very, very surprised. So can you share your impression when you moved from Canada to Germany?
You know, when I moved to Germany, like you said, I was so impressed with how open people were and welcoming how they were to this crazy Anglo, that was struggling with German and, couldn't figure out the bike paths. Oh my gosh, like there were so many things here that I had to learn to survive. And that bike path is pretty high on the list, but I also was heartbroken with how aggressive moms are to other moms.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's better in North America. It's just different. People were like, they asked me when I was working in my late 30s and we hadn't had a child yet, why did I prioritize work over being a mom? And I didn't answer them. I just, in a way, but I mean, I didn't. We were trying for years for Olivia. People here asked questions that were so judgmental. But again, it happens at home, okay? This is not specifically here. But this is to judge a woman's choices on any respect should not happen. Like no one knows the backstory. Yeah. No one knows how many tears have been shed, how many things have been tried. No one knows how many life-altering decisions they've had to make along the way to be at that spot they're in right there. And instead of just giving them a hug or saying nothing, like you said, Wolke, it's always better to say nothing than to make an assumption on why a situation is the way it is. This is what we need to do as women. And that's why I am so excited about this topic, that we can actually just talk about it. Because like when I was pregnant with Olivia, which was an amazing time, and I was able to work because my pregnancy was absolutely wonderful and easy. Up until the day we had to go to the hospital when Olivia was overdue, and they said, we got to take this kid out. She's too comfortable. And I remember talking with a couple of women right after, or in the waiting room to go in. And I said, well, yeah, I'll work pretty quick, and I've got a nursery set up at Pumpkin, so Olivia can come and see mommy work. And, I'm choosing to breastfeed, but if I can, I had no idea if I would be able to. And her response to me was, does your husband not make enough money that you can't stay at home? And this single question broke my heart, because it's so institutionalized here, even in women, that we cannot have a balanced approach to life, right? This woman who was also pregnant and waiting in the waiting room with me was so positioned in her mind that this is what had to happen. She had to have the baby. She had to stay at home. She had to be the good mom, the good wife. And then after a year, she could maybe think about a part-time job. But that's not what it has to be. But I'm not going to judge her. And I just said that's, I wish her all the best. And I hope whatever she does is fantastic for her and her family. But this concept that she felt so outright or almost self-righteous that this was the right thing to do and I was doing the wrong thing, I'll never forget in that way. And that was one of the milestones that I said, if I had the opportunity to lead some aspect to bring a change in this part of how women look at other women here, I would be full in.
Wow, it's someone says here in our community, wow, this question hits different, and that's so right. And the people are writing, our community is like freaking out here. Karina is like so rude, but some people are also commenting your your words, Wolke. Here, thank you so much, Wolke, for saying that. So true. So true. As a new mom, I can't believe that strangers just approach strollers to give unsolicited advice. And I appreciate you being so open with these topics in public, Wolke. Many moms just hope that this high maintenance phase of the child is soon over, but it's a pity. It's just normal, says Victoria. You can also ask questions because I received one, and Wolke, I will just give it to you. Someone asked, what helped you the most during this challenging time?
It feels like nothing really helped. Just probably my general like positive setup and outlook and my stability, like my personal stability, because at the time you're just lonely and tired, and lonely. So there was nothing really, also nothing could spark joy. Or if I have to tell or explain to someone that doesn't have kids yet, I would say it was like a year of being lovesick. That's probably the closest that I would, that state of mind, that state of physical exhaustion. Nothing is fun. You don't want to meet people. Everything's too much. Thinking of going to the shop and buying an apples is like, oh, I still need to get out there, So like a total, I don't know, I can't remember most of the year even, because it's been so draining and so hard. So I don't know, probably because you have to hang in there. That's also one mom thing. You just don't get the option.
Yeah.
No one says, okay, excuse me, I'll give you some time for a week and then you can recover and come back. So it's just, you have to do it. And I guess it's just quite a major change of before, because before you have kids, you have the choice.
Yeah.
And you can take jobs, and if you don't like it or if it's too much, you can still say, okay, I'm stepping down, I'm taking another one, I'm taking a gap year, whatever. But in momhood, you can't just step out.
No.
So that makes it very difficult. You just have to endure it. So I can't really say really. I was just hanging in and also hoping for it to get better, so I can kind of come back to myself, because I didn't feel like myself.
And you mentioned it before, you are a public person, and I can imagine it is also very challenging, because you have this year with you alone, and the people are like having the perception of Wolke Hegenbarth. She's a very famous actress, and now when she's going back, and then she has to talk about the motherhood like in a very lovely way, and then you're giving the first interview, and then it's a big boom. So did you feel a special pressure when it comes like your job as an actress and the motherhood?
No, I actually felt very relieved and free, because I feel it's part of my job as an actress as well, to show dark sides. Possibly I would even like to do more of it as I get older, because it's more real. A full woman is also one that has problems and faces challenges and stuff. So I always felt it's actually doing me good as a person, because I can use it for my work, because it just broadens my spectrum and my tools, my emotional tools. And I'm not a scary person. So I think that helps the most. I'm just not scared, because I don't know of what. I'm not scared to be judged, because I know who I am, and I know what it was like. And it was just shit, but I don't blame anyone. It's just what it was. So I can call it that. I don't mind saying it was the worst year of my life. It was. I mean, I wish it would have been different, but well, no one asked me. It was just there. So I've just felt like sharing that can really, help people, and feel more, or for more women to speak up and not feel ashamed, when they're not the happiest ever because they have a baby, or maybe it's different. And then you hear the fun sentence, oh yeah, but it was your choice to have a child. But you don't know what you're getting yourself into before it happens. So, and it can be the best idea of your life, possibly, but it faces also a lot of challenges. So for me, it's kind of, if your life was like that before with a child, it's kind of like that, but it's also more plus, but also more minus. It kind of gets bigger as a whole thing to juggle. So it just feels like you're adding on both sides. So more depth, but also in the deep end where you actually don't want to be and where you don't feel good. But also, of course, on the good side, because there's also a lot of wonderful things happening. But sometimes they're just not balanced.
Yeah. It's so interesting to listen to your both words, because even when I have no kids, okay, I have 2 dogs similar to kids. Well, okay, I wrote you this. You were like, yes, almost, it's similar to kids. I can relate when it comes to these stereotypes and pressure, especially from the public, because I was giving a lot of interviews this year, and the people are like, oh, so we like your career and you're such a role model, but what about kids? And I'm like, why?
I've been asked for 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's such a sentimental question. Yeah. You don't know what is happening behind the scenes. And Jaclyn,
totally inappropriate. And no guy ever gets asked.
yeah,
No,
None
never,
of my
never,
colleagues ever
never.
got asked, oh,
No.
so when are you having kids? I was like,
Yeah.
why am I being asked
Yeah.
all the time?
Yeah, it's so crazy. And Jaclyn, you have with Pumpkin Organics not only great products, you have also a big community of moms out there and also dads. I know that. Do you also receive this kind of feedback when it comes to these stereotypes, as Wolke mentioned, as I mentioned, like these traditional boxes? So what do you receive for kind of feedback?
I have to say, within the pumpkin communities, it's such wonderful supportive feedback, because I think we have so many moms that are just like us, that they have this knowledge and this craving for healthier food, and we get a lot of love letters and gratefulness letters. In fact, we were in the DM about last summer, and a woman came up to Olivia and said, "You're the pumpkin baby." And I almost fell off, because I have, Wolke, this is your normal life. This is not my normal life, right? I am so far from being recognized, but they recognized Olivia from the TV ads and everything. And the woman started crying. And she had a 2-year-old little girl with her. And she just said, your products really are one of the reasons my little 4-year-old, I could handle it with my 4-year-old, because he's very, he has some problems. And the doctors recommended your product to try to get him into vegetables and off sugar completely. And that meant fruit as well. And she said it changed his life around. Another younger daughter only eats pumpkin, who's completely fine. But to see these tears, I started crying. Florian started crying. I think Olivia thought everybody was a crackpot. But it was one of these moments that made me realize, okay, yeah, there's a lot of mom shaming. Yes, there's a lot of complexity in doing what we do, trying to be there for everyone, trying to be perfect. But we break through. We do have an impact. And all you need to do is have an impact on one person. Then it's worth it, right? I have to echo what Wolke was saying with this sleep issue and how parents judge and that you don't know. Once or twice, I definitely have reacted too sharply, maybe more than once or twice, because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I have not slept through the night in almost 3 years. And that means Olivia's almost 3, right? Olivia slept with us for a long, long time, years. And she would want milk a couple times a night. It's so complex, because these are times they also want mommy, right? And when you don't sleep, your entire, everything you do is affected, right? Everything when you don't sleep right. And I have not slept a single night in 3 years. And this is the part where I don't think people actually realize the demands on mom or dad, whoever the primary caregiver is, because you don't get to recover at night. Not only do you not get a break, which I fully agree with what Wolke was saying, but your body doesn't get to recover. So one of the most important things we do have is nutrition. Because if we didn't eat well, if we didn't actually take these moments, I know, Wolke, you're big into yoga, and it's also a big inspiration for me to get back, because right now all I do is ride my bike. And this is one way we have to bring balance. We have to bring these moments of self-celebration into our lives. And even if it's only laughing at yourself because you're by yourself, it's still a really, really important part. And I have to say, I get a ton of energy from our community. outside, though, I do have to add one thing. Not outside of just our community. I'm often, my mind is blown often at the negativity around and the ungratefulness. And like, I don't even know what to say or do when people are given opportunities to be part of something or something bigger, or given a gift. And the amount of ungratefulness right now and petty anger and frustration, it's really sad. And I think this is really one of the parts that's bringing us down versus, pumping us all up for all the great things that we're doing. And it would be amazing if the media, if more people talked about the good things people are doing.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Like Wolke's, our interview she did on sleep, I mean, it was fantastic because it was so real and so important.
Yeah.
And why can't the media, why can't people actually talk about the great things in life that people are doing? There's so much amazing, like Wolke was just at the English translations now got me. The kids,
Ein Herz für Kinder.
Yeah.
Ein Herz für Kinder, yeah.
$27 million was raised for kids. And how little airtime did that get versus every other negative topic out there? Right?
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm going off on another topic right now, but it's so integrated for me on how we approach being more supportive to moms and being just a culture that actually embodies gratefulness and appreciation and celebration.
Yeah, and that's actually why the people appreciate our talk here. A lot of people said here, okay, you are so empowering. Thanks for your openness when it comes to being a mom. And it's nice to openly talk about the subject. When I had my daughter, I kept thinking, no one said it would be this hard. I truly believe we have to stop glorifying everything and start real talk. And we receive a lot of questions. I just want to jump into with another question. It's a very interesting question from Mihai. What part do or should the men in your lives play, from sons to fathers, from superiors to colleagues? Wolke, do you want to start?
What part they should play? Well, majority, I mean, I would talk about Oliver that I live with, and Avi, of course, but he's 2, so I don't really have any expectations yet. Besides knowing, and that's a cool thing, I think, he will be a complete feminist because he has no choice. Because I'm his mom, so that just sets a bar, and I'm very happy for that because he will never be scared of strong women ever, and he won't be scared of someone that speaks up and is there present. So because he has that at home. So I was always hoping actually to raise a girl because I thought I could give another female, lead the way. But now I guess I have to make the partner for that female. So that's also okay. I take that very serious.
Well, Olivia's also 2, so maybe it could be the perfect partner.
Thank you. Because obviously I'm raising, Alicia Keys does so wonderful on that. She says raising boys, and she takes it very serious, and she completely inspired me by being aware of that if you have a boy at home, that's the future male generation. So obviously there's a lot of responsibility on us as well, because you can only teach your daughter so and so much if the boy or man next door is not, up on the level. What's it all? What's the use? So that's one thing that I'm actually quite happy about. And then obviously Oliver is all in supporting me when he needs to, or when I need it, because I work projects. Most of the time I was now at home in the past 2 years, but I do have work. So if there's work coming up, he will jump in and make sure he's there to support. So that's the thing we agreed on before having kids, that my job is a bit different than an office job. So that whenever there is work and there is a project, that he will be fully in. So I'm only going to start now, really, because as I will start working more again, that I will need him more, because so far I've been the prime caretaker, of course.
Yeah, okay. And Jaclyn, you have a special situation. We have a similar situation. We have a strong partner on our side, who is also your founding partner. Florian is also your partner in crime when it comes to pumpkin organics. So maybe you can answer Mihai questions when it comes to your perspective.
Mihai, phenomenal question. It's everything. Like being a mom, like being anything, you don't do it alone. And okay, so I'm married to Florian. He's my rock. He's my sparring partner. He's my best friend. He's the guy that picks me up when I'm on the floor crying, and he's the first person to tell the world what I did. He's also the very first person that if I didn't hear or I needed a break, he takes Olivia out for a walk or to the playground, no questions asked. He has an ability to read me before I can read myself. I am beyond grateful for that partnership. When I started Pumpkin, I had no pressure. Everything he took on outside, from financial to everything, because who knows if I could even convince an investor to back us or find out how to produce better baby food. I had a vision, I had a dream, but I had nothing else except a lot of passion. And he just was nothing but go for it. And the reason that he's my co-founder, that was not an intention at the beginning. And in fact, I wouldn't highly recommend most couples go into companies together. But the first 2 years, like we met at Harvard doing our MBAs. So our first 2 years were fully in work mode together. So I had a very good feeling about it. But we didn't plan this. When it came into about is about 2 years into Pumpkin, I became pregnant with Olivia. And because this was such an amazing alignment of the stars, so to speak, it was a no-brainer. So he had a super successful career as an investor. He was, really phenomenal at what he does. And there was no questions asked. He said, Jaclyn, Pumpkin's your dream. You're on it. And our dream to have Olivia. And he left investing and joined me. I don't know if I could have made the same decision.
Yeah.
In all honesty. But for him, it was, and he says, an easy decision. And to find that type of support is for me is everything for how and why I can do what I do. And I think you cannot overestimate the power our partners have in our lives, whatever that partner is. But that person you turn to at every moment, that person that knows you better than you know yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes it's also a mentor or a sponsor in your network. Yeah. And you are also a mentor for me, Jaclyn. And we both met through a very great mentor of myself, Ann-Christine Achleitner. She is a very famous businesswoman here in Germany.
Yeah,
and she
woman.
said once, I think 1 year, more than 1 year ago, Tijen, I know a startup, I know a female founder, and she needs your help when it comes to PR and communications. And she is also looking for new business angels. And I was like, business angel? What the fuck is that? It sounds good, yeah. And I was like, okay, so let's jump into becoming an investor. So our journey started, and your both journey, Wolke and Jaclyn, started, as I remember, you were a customer of Pumpkin Organics, right, Wolke?
Yes. I've tried and tested for about a year. Oh, Avi, I must say. He probably ate 99% of the food. I only stole a muesli when there was no time to make anything at home. So yes, and then Jaclyn approached me only recently, and I thought she would probably talk about a corporation on Instagram, because that's what I do as well. And then she said, no, would you actually be interested in investing? And I mean, I haven't invested in my whole life. So I was like, investing?
What?
Oh, okay. Okay. And so it took a whole new turn, because I wasn't prepared, because, you kind of think you know where you're going, and then the talk just goes completely different. You're like, okay. But I told them immediately that I have absolutely no clue. And they need to kind of guide me, or you, Tijen, on the way. But then I felt I had competent women around me. So I thought that was a good idea. And it was actually very interesting also to be more visible in that part that I haven't really included in my life yet. Like I'm not at all a businesswoman, I would say, although I am a brand as myself.
Absolutely.
So technically I possibly am, but I never saw myself as one.
Yeah.
And so with investing, I'm obviously kind of stepping up my game, because I'm going into a field that I have never even considered. But things
Yeah.
in life usually come my way, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yes,
Why
yes.
not?
Yeah, so it happened just like it always happened, and I was like, okay, so the time is right.
Yeah, but maybe coming back to the nutrition part, Wolke, Jaclyn mentioned it before, you're very into yoga. I recognize it also because I'm also following you on Instagram. And I saw before we both met that you are absolutely into yoga. And you mentioned you are also absolutely food lover. And sometimes you have also snippets on your Instagram story sharing some really good food.
Yeah.
So, do you like, or when did you start your journey when it comes to nutrition and being aware of food?
I was born privileged because I was born in a normal middle class apartment, but privileged in a way of my parents were always aware of food being important. And my mom used to buy bio when people didn't kind of know in the 80s. I mean, that time was still a farmhouse, and there was no bio company and no bio market. And, it was like really kind of different. It existed, but it was more like for some people. So, but she always felt it was important to give like good food, and she started me young. I only ate veg for the first 3 years of my life.
Oh, wow.
And then she started with meat, then I didn't want it. So I was a vegetarian for probably 20 years of my life. I am now a veggie again. I do eat fish though, but I'm kind of stayed on that path. So I could see, because a lot of people ask me about my routine, especially where food is concerned, because I'm fit and look healthy, and most of the time I am. So I get a lot of questions about that, and I just, through the years, I think you notice how privileged you are, because that was never a topic. I not once dieted. I not once gained more than 2 kilos in my entire life. I don't even know. I can't even talk about it because I haven't been down that road. Of course, in my work, an absolute privilege, because there's certain how to look or how actresses are supposed to look, and I guess that's just probably also not going to change that soon. So I was always just fortunate to fit the picture. You just kind of suit what they require. And the older you get, I kind of noticed that this is actually something special, and I was just kind of trained and fed into the right direction, and it stayed with me my entire life. What I like is predominantly like potatoes and veg and rice. I don't like sweets. Well, I never had a sweet tooth. I don't know if there's much you can do about it, but I don't like the sweet stuff. So I pretty much live quite sugar-free-ish, not 100%, but and it just feels good. I'm never sick, or hardly ever, knock on wood. And so I just feel, and my partner Oliver had some allergen issues with food and so on, and then he also started eating predominantly vegan, and so we just felt a whole lot of improvement. And it's actually amazing how the body starts healing itself when you eat the right stuff. So that obviously applies to kids as well. So that's why I think pumpkin is just the idea is so great, because I love veg. I can't see myself not eating vegetable ever. And I know it's such a struggle for a lot of women or moms to get their kids starting veg. But obviously, if you start early, you have a higher chance, because in the first 2 to 3 years, right, you set your taste buds for life.
Absolutely.
And if you leave McDonald's and rather turn to the healthy side, you're doing your child quite a favor.
Absolutely. It's so interesting to listen to your words and how you grew up, Wolke. And we received one question from Victoria. I think, Jaclyn, that's perfect for you. Do you have any plans to set up business in different sustainability segments?
So sustainability is 100% in our DNA. We were the first baby food company in the world to be fully climate neutral via offset. And of course, we're working on quite extensive reduction programs now with our plants, transport, etc. Plus, we were only the third company in Europe, second in Germany, to have fully recyclable pouch packaging. And we got this packaging not because we're one of the biggest, but because we were one of the loudest voices, the packaging manufacturer told us. So sustainability is absolutely the future of food. It's one of the reasons we only use organic ingredients, not just the nutrition, but we have to care about how the ingredients are farmed, but also where they're farmed. We work with 6 plants, and our ingredients mostly come from neighboring countries, because how far those ingredients go, the fact if they're flash frozen at the farm before they're transported, all of these elements are not just important to the nutrition, but actually the entire carbon footprint and the impact on sustainability as we look at how we produce food. So going into different segments, I'm sorry if I don't fully understand the question, but you definitely can look at Pumpkin to be a leader in sustainable nutrition as we are today, and we are constantly going to push the industry, both from the retailer side, but also really push packaging and the concept of delivering like really best-in-class food in the most sustainably focused way possible. The thing that is difficult with baby food, just to really keep in mind, is product quality and standards cannot be compromised. You cannot make a 5-serving package of baby bra. You need 1 serving because the food has to be open. There's no preservatives. And then it has to be eaten. So we are really up against a challenge to produce high quality, not just high quality, but safety standards of food and meet the incredible demands on our planet. But really hand on heart, I can say we're probably one of the most sustainably focused baby food companies out there, and we will continue to be, because it is vital that our kids see us making conscious choices to do things better for the environment.
And talking about that, Wolke, I can imagine when you are at the beginning of your motherhood, it's like overwhelming when it comes to all the information out there about nutrition for babies. Yeah, you have you mentioned before, you have social media, you have Instagram, then you have your parents, then you have friends talking about it, and I can imagine it's very overwhelming. So what helped you to, let's say, make the right decision for yourself, for Ari?
I try and more follow my feeling. I tried to not read. I did not complete 1 book on mom, baby, parenting. I don't know. I simply didn't. So I just didn't even want to start, because sometimes it's the more you know, the more insecure you get.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a lot like that out there, because then you read this book, then you kind of, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Then your friend tells you about the other book, and it says not maybe the complete opposite, but enough opposite to make you insecure in, is it now right or wrong, and so on. And I didn't want to be insecure. I feel like being secure is one of my key assets as a mom. I want Avi to know I'm secure. I'm that, ich bin die Bank. You know, I want him, when he's big, I want him to say, meine Mama war meine Bank. You know, I was always there. So, and I kind of know what I'm doing. And so I didn't want to get confused. And where like First Nutrition was concerned and stuff, I kind of asked my close friends, that's moms that I know have done the job, and I like them and I like their kids, and I think they also try and make healthy choices. So I turned to the people that around me, and for me that was the best, because then you have one opinion of one person. Because of the books, I don't even know the author, so here I know the person, I see her with her kids, so I kind of turned to her and I asked her what to cook and how to prep it and what oil to put in and so on. And then I got a WhatsApp. I started in Cape Town, I'll remember, with butternut, so or pumpkin technically, so she wrote me a whole list on what to buy and what to get, and then I cooked his first food.
And someone asked here, did you raise Ari fully vegetarian the first year? Yes.
Still, he does get some fish if we are out, and he loves sushi. So if he does get his hand on some fish, he will eat it, but maybe once in 2 weeks or something like that. He's technically vegetarian, 90% probably.
Very good. And Jaclyn, Wolke said she was like following her inner path. Is that kind of way that you also experienced with yourself? Absolutely. And also what you see when it comes to your moms in your community?
You have to follow your intuition. It's a general guiding light in life. I've always lived by that. I always believe there's something bigger out there than us. Karma plays into this. somehow. And when it comes to your child, nothing is more dominant than your gut feel.
Yeah.
Olivia is almost all vegetarian as well, but I tried to get her to eat meat. She gets like the best filet and the organic chicken. She just doesn't like it. So I've also, I think this is also fundamental the first few years, because she got every vegetable and pea and legume and lentil and rice and all this, and she loves it. And she also loves sushi. She loves like one of her favorite dishes is palak paneer from the Indian restaurant on the corner. She loves truffle pasta. And she loves,
she also loves truffle.
Right? Like this kid's palate is crazy, but she doesn't like meat. And I think fundamentally that is not a problem, because even through evolution, right, we can survive wonderfully on plants. But the point is that you have to ensure the child eats enough B12, enough folic acid, enough iron. So I'm fully behind intuition, but just please make sure your child gets enough of all of the minerals, especially for their brain development in the first couple of years. And that's the one reason why Pumpkin is not a vegan brand, is simply because it is so complicated to raise a vegan child from a knowledge and education point of view that I would not want to be part of that journey. Simply because we are here to support parents. So we have all the fundamental or the products to ensure they get a wonderful, huge variety of tastes and textures and colors and smells. But how the parent chooses fundamentally to feed the child is up to them. And we're here to support that journey. But because vegan and vegetarian, you have to be very cautious that your child gets everything. So it's like you said, as long as they're getting enough omega oils and enough proteins and iron, from chickpeas or lentils or quinoa, all of these things like that, children will fall in love with food. They learn food. They learn taste.
Yeah.
We teach them that. And I think, Wolke, your upbringing, your story, which I didn't know that full part of it, shows the power of the first 1,000 days science.
Yes.
You were brought up to eat like this. And then, of course, you didn't make all the right choices along the way. Like, we do
but
enjoy
I never liked other food. It's interesting.
Like, your brain was programmed.
Days, maybe at 5, 6 people went to McDonald's and I didn't know what to eat. I ate nothing.
Oh,
I came home hungry because I didn't like anything they served.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's just, it really does have an impact.
Yeah.
It does.
Completely.
And it is a responsibility. And I think you can really help your child, for a healthier and easier life. If you don't have sugar cravings all the time, you're just happier person. I know people that tried to get off sugar for years, and it's a major struggle to leave chocolate. If you actually grew up with it and your mom feeds you with sugar spoons like it used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
And it sticks with you for life. So I think it's quite clever actually to try and get into nutrition and make choices, because it makes your life so much easier as well.
Completely, because happiness, creativity, everything is connected to nutrition. And there's so much science there to show that sugar is absolutely unnecessary, especially like a pureed fruit sugar or a refined sugar in cheaper chocolates or hidden sugars in boxed foods. There is no need there except to really fulfill these cravings and create future cravings for us.
And great that we have this talk next to Christmas now with all the presents and the sweets. And someone asked here from Facebook, is it okay for kids to have some chocolate and sweets every now and then, though?
Absolutely. Kids are kids.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just
I'm
what
not
you do.
into dogmatic approaches for anything, because life's already complicated, and I would not want to add another thing. So, if it happens and everybody gets offered cookies and that's that. But I just try and make it predominantly healthy. Yeah. And then the once in a while is not a problem. And he will only have a small piece of cake, and then he's done.
Then he's done.
It's interesting. And he doesn't ask for more. So that just shows it's already kind of healthy choices he makes.
Because he's watching you. And that's the big thing. Our kids emulate everything we do, right? Yeah. And that's why it's also important, that they see us as individual, confident, driven women in whatever function it is. But they will copy everything. So if we sit and we enjoy that wonderful broccoli and sweet potatoes, they will. And if they see us going out and being confident, financially independent, like successful women, or whatever the construct is, they will also want to emulate that and achieve that.
Yeah, and Astrid also from our community said, it's not only about teaching taste, though we also have to live it ourselves. In the end, the kids do what we do.
Exactly.
So
well said, Astrid.
Yeah, it's very well said. Jaclyn, coming to the end from our really great and amazing talk. So what are your plans for next year with Pumpkin Organics?
So we are right now in the middle of our fundraising round. And so we're really excited about the future. We're in a couple new chains coming up in the new year. We have about 10 new products already scheduled for next year. So we really are driving our nutrition and our sustainability messages forward. But what we really, one of our biggest priorities for next year is to bring to life the stories of our amazing investors and other amazing women, to give them a platform to really talk with women one-to-one what it's really like. And give people this, okay, yeah, you know what, that is normal. I went through that. That is, yeah, okay. And I think this talk is just showing, like, we as women are really willing to talk if we have a safe space and a supportive environment to do it within. And the more of us that come together in this safe and supportive environment, it's just going to be exponential for our entire society and then ultimately our kids. And it's really a mindset change. And so as much as we're really focused on driving our nutrition agenda next year, this is something personally very, very important to me to drive this.
Oh my God, I'm really looking forward to this. And Wolke, what are your plans for next year?
No plans yet. We wanted to be in South Africa over Christmas, but I can't see myself quarantining with a 2-year-old. So things have changed. Things just change. And so I'll just see whatever comes along. I usually have an empty year ahead of me, and freaks out most people that potentially love my job, but when I tell them what it's really, one more thing to share, when you really tell them what it's like, oh, you don't know what you're doing at all. I'm like, nope, it's blank. And then they're like, okay, I couldn't do that. So that's the part of being a freelancer completely and being dependent on, don't call us, we call you. Yeah. So you have to have that trust that someone will actually call you and would want you to work for them. And I love my work. I mean, maybe to complete that, I can't see myself living without working. I mean, even though I'm a mom now, but that doesn't mean the Wolke of all the 39 years before that is gone. So it just shows we also need to be ourselves. And for me, that is working as my favorite thing to do. So working to me is essential. It's essential. And not only for the money, I also need to pay my rent, but also for me to feel whole. And then I'm also a better mother. So I think for a lot of women, it's probably actually great to work, maybe not 100 hours a week. That will be very complicated, but to have something you get engaged in, you have your brain work, you connect with women on another level, you challenge your intelligence, you need inspiration. At least once you're on that level, you kind of thrive on things like that. And when it just misses this, you can't really picture that existence without, the other parts. So I think there need to be more solutions of combining working and mom life. That's a major challenge. And I think Germany is just not doing too good at it yet.
No, but we have a new government, so let's see if something is changing. And I will call you, Wolke, definitely next year. So you have one call.
Yeah, I'm calling too, Wolke.
And Jaclyn, you have 165 days. You can pick.
And you have a great new job as a business angel. So I think you will have a lot to do next year, especially when it comes to our work. And one thing that I learned is Ari and Olivia have a date, right?
Yes, exactly.
True. See, I have 2 dates now. Cool. Thank you, ladies. That was a good talk.
So thank you so much. And the community is freaking out. The people are like, thank you for your open words. You're wonderful. And thank you from a working mom to all 3 of you for being that authentic, open, vocal about those important topics. You rock. So thank you guys out
you,
there,
everybody.
and stay safe and happy Christmas then. Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Ciao.